Hi, it's Gadget UK here again, back for the second part of the Amiga 600 crap to complete. In the first part we recapped it. At the start of this video here we do a lot of messing around with the case and the floppy drive, but just bear with the video or fast forward if you're not interested in that sort of side of things and the frustration of watching me stumble my way through this stuff. It gets a little bit more interesting later on as we go inside some of those little metal can devices for the bandpass filter and delay line. And there's a few other bits and pieces you might find interesting a bit later on as well. And it's a Rev 1.5 this board, look. June bug with a J. Yeah, so I had the old caps in there, actually. It came from 4X. This is really good for storing knickknacks and things, as he suggested. Anyway, the only caps worth testing these for, those are all absolutely borked. I am going to test these 10s with the blue top, because those may have been swapped out. And the first one though, which is 1000 microfarad, 0.12, and if you listen to it, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a really good cap. So this is the other, I think it's 1000 as well, isn't it? Again, it's good. Ding ding, good ESR. And the brand on these is Elmer. So I don't know how Elmer compares to the Shui ones, but those Shui ones are usually never very good. I would always recommend swapping out those in 500s and stuff. Again, 470, 0.16, that's good. Those are alright. I would actually use those on something else. If I was building a small board or something and I was short of a couple of caps, I wouldn't hesitate to use those. 470, 0.14, again, ding ding, very good. Yeah, all those other ones there are going to go into the bin. We'll check those three actually, let's just do that now. Yeah, they've leaked. So there you go. If you were thinking, oh, that blue band, they look different, or they've been swapped, because that was my thought. I thought maybe they had been swapped, just those three. Nope. Bad, bad, and I guess this one's going to be bad as well. So they were all bad, the SMD ones, which is a given really on these. Same thing, open circuit, low capacitance, all of those. Yeah, and here's the Armageddon bag. So if you ever wondered, every time I mention I've got to put it with the Armageddon caps, here you go. It's the least of your problems if you've got Armageddon, isn't it? Because you've probably got no power. That's the thing, for a very long period of time. Yeah, 99% of those caps are good. It gives you an idea of when you're recapping things, do you really need to recap? And here we are about a week later. I was able to put a best offer in on this. He wanted £100 for it, which, well, you could buy 600 for £100. Probably a beat up one, but look at the condition of it. It does look immaculate. I am questioning whether it's been H2O2'd this. I don't think so though. It's just in exceptional condition. So, yeah, funnily enough, if someone's put the warranty seal back over there, why would you do that? That's the most ridiculous thing ever. Anyway, yeah, there's some marks here. We'll see if we can clean those off in that. And it's got the screws to hold the case together. The screws look like they need a bit of a clean up. It's just like a Diddy 1200, this, isn't it? But I always thought that. And that's obviously what Commodore were going for. That one's a bit longer, as you'd expect at that point. And I think that's it. And then there's clips. Now, from what I understand, let's just put that back down there a sec. The clips are all good apart from one. So you've got to sort of just lift up, there you go, over the back. You know, sort of push the back that way slightly as you... Of course, this side here is going to be a bit of a challenge. Just looking on the inside there. There we go. It's come off. So no more damage to clips, but you can see there's a clip missing there. So yeah, it's good, and it's got the LEDs here as well, look, so that's everything we need, I think. Obviously we need a floppy drive. We haven't got the shielding. I would whiz the shielding anyway. It's nice, it's got the trapdoor. So let me go get the motherboard, just get the wrist strap back on. I'm thinking I might have everything we need here now, because I don't think there's anything else we need. I don't imagine we're going to need anything special for the floppy drive mount, but I do have like a 3D printed Gotek thing. I'll show you in a minute. I think it came from, I want to say Alex. It might not have come from that person. I don't know. So yeah, you've got to sort of go in at a slight angle here to get these ports lined and to get the thing at the back. I'm not really sure what Commodore were thinking when they designed this, really. No, that is it. That's it. So yeah, we need a screw there. Do you know, I don't see any of the screws. Is that it? One screw? Oh no, there's 2 screws, one there. So I need to go and find 2 screws for this because we don't have any. Yeah, and you knew I was going to come out with the C64 motherboard screws, didn't you? It's almost like one size fits all. You never know, it might just fit here. Let's just give it a go. They're not very long. Let's just see, is it going to grip? And the answer is yes. Yeah, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So 2 brand new screws to hold our board in. And they're not very long, so they're not going to screw through to the other side, is the key. So we've got that, and the motherboard is now held in. I don't see any of the screws. It looks like it is just those 2 on the 600 there. So the next thing is a floppy drive. Now here's one I fixed on a previous video. So handy, isn't it? Because I think this might just do the job. Now I'm not sure if the 600 drives differ in any way. Yeah, isn't there supposed to be a mount or something here? I think there is. So this is now what we're missing. We're missing some mount or something to go down here. But what we do have is this. That's an A1200 Gadget mount actually. So you know what? That's not going to be good for this. And there's this here, which may be the A600. I don't know. I don't think there's anything written on that. I honestly don't know. What I do know is this 3D printed part kind of looks just what we need to go down here, maybe. I don't know. It might be for the... No, yeah, we could in theory screw that there, and then it's just going to support it, but there's no screw hole. And that could be because this drive is not the right drive. I don't know, but and this might be for a 1200. But I just remember this kindly being 3D printed and coming with that 1200 mount there. And I reckon you could screw this in here, and then it's just going to support the drive at that point. So you know what? It's going to be a wee bit of a bodge, but it's always going to be like that when you've got lots of parts missing here. There we go, that's in place. So at the very least, you see, that's just going to hold the drive there. And you know what? I think that's going to be fine, look. I think that's going to be fine. I think this may have been engineered for a Gotek or something originally. But, well, the other problem is here, look, is this is going to short on these components here, isn't it? Does it need to be higher up like that, maybe? Yeah, it does. It really needs a screw mount there, but this drive hasn't got one. Could try this drive for size, but I think, yeah, it's the same problem, look. It's the same problem, there's no hole there. You'd think that when someone sold me this case, they would have put at least a few bits on the inside. Any mounts or brackets for the drive. It's like, what was wrong with including those? I don't know. And of course, we don't need to go with that. We could try something like this. I'm guessing that's where the button would go. So, you know, that would go like that, maybe. If you had a Gotek here. I mean, with a Gotek, you're not going to have a problem because you've got this, you know, it's plastic here, nothing to short. And to summarise, the only issue here, I mean, you've got 2 screws there, haven't you? Screws go through there to hold the drive. So you know what? When those are screwed in there, it's going to pull it up. Let me just see. It's going to sit like that, but it's going to be pulled like that. It's just a question of what, you know, what about down there? I've got a few ideas. I might actually be able to form, I've got some metal right angle bits, or in fact they're not right angled, they will be when I finish there. And I could bend it, put it under the drive there, and then screw through the other way or something. I don't know, it's going to be pretty tight though because there's no gap there. What we need is something just to help stand this up here, yeah, so that at this point here it's nice and level. Yes, it's going to be a bodge, but it doesn't really matter as long as it's supported up like that. The other thing obviously is we need a cable. I need to go see if I've got a spare cable. And that's going to be an interesting one because, well, the length of the cable. See, if we had this drive in there, for example, pin 1's down there, wow, that needs to be quite a long cable. To go from there to back here, you need quite a long cable. That is not going to cut it. Yeah, and I found quite a long cable here that came from the Archimedes drives, actually. So that's going to be way too long, isn't it? But it does mean we can, well, let's just try it out. We can get it like that there, in terms of pin 1. and then it can be folded under the drive and come up here. I think if we just have a look at this, where's pin 1 on this now? Pin 1 is often towards the power on these, but not always. And actually it is in this case, so we can connect that up like that. Connect to the power. Let's just try this out. I didn't think this through, did I? Let's put this there. Well, it's going to be bodged up like that for the moment, isn't it? So there's no chance of anything shorting down here because it won't fit flat. The ribbon cable is pushing that up. And you know what? We might have no issue thinking about this. When it's screwed in from the back there, we might have no issue. But then again, it might not be lined up properly here. Yeah, I wondered if there was a metal bracket, like a frame or something, that goes round these drives. I don't know. I need to go and look at the other drives, but they're all in the loft at the moment. Anyway, we're just making sure there's nothing for it to short. Let's just overhang it a bit here and we'll give it a try. Oh god, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? Because you've got to get that through there, like that. Let's just tuck it in. And then that's going to sit over there, I think. Is it? Wow, that's going to be tight going together. I don't know, is this time where I start to think maybe there's something else going on here, like I've got the wrong keyboard or something, I don't know. Anyway, let's just try the floppy drive out. Right, so the TV's on, let's just switch it on. Hear the drive click. Just wait and see if it clicks again. I can try and test getting it. Yeah, it clicks again there. So let's stick a disc in, see if it boots. Yay! Yeah, so my memories of servicing that drive are correct. That's why it says OK on it. It's a bit dusty, it does need a bit of a clean up because it's been sat around for a long time. And interestingly, this is the one here, the one we fixed, and then I blew up the tip on it and we fixed it again. This one's got these mounts here. Now, I'm not sure where those are applicable. Not here, because there's no holes underneath this, unless there's a tray or something supposed to go under that. And I'm guessing there is. I'm guessing. Maybe not. Because those two screws there will marry up, no problems. It really is just about finding something to deal with this height thing here. So I'm going to go away and have a think. I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, so I just had a look on eBay. There is actually a bracket. There's a little bracket. I actually think I'm going to hack this. I've got one of these little metal things here. If we just bend this out at 90 degrees, and I need to get the mole grits onto this to do a really straight job. Yeah, you might be able to see what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if we could mount something under there like that and line it up with this, then it would hold it. Yeah, that's it. So I mean, like, that is totally 90 degrees. It's just whether any of these holes are going to be in the right place. You know, the theory, the one there might be alright just to hold it up, but you really want a screw mount under here. I mean, bear in mind, it doesn't really need securing on this side, because as long as you've got the two screws in there, it's going to be held pretty firmly at the point where you're pressing the button. So all we need is something just to hold it. So you know what, this screwed on there like that might just do the trick. Yeah, so with a bit of bodgery, I've put this bracket there, which I've strained out. Bear in mind the screw stuck out there, so you know what, this might not do what we want. It's probably going to inhibit it. So I mean, in the meantime, I've bidded on an actual bracket. Yeah, the screw is the issue there. The screw is hindering that. It's really annoying because, well, that's all that's wrong with it. I mean, in theory, one thought did cross my mind, I could elongate the hole here, which would mean this bracket could slide further up that way. And there's almost enough space on the board for that. So, I don't know. But this bracket here, holding it there, plus the fact that the cable's under here, means it can't go down any further there anyway. Yeah, this bracket is sort of inhibiting it. And the fact I've now secured it here, I've got two PC style screws that are slightly longer with a washer on each. They've secured the drive here. I think that's going to be fine. Let's just try to disconnect it. Obviously we need to try disconnecting it with the lid's on, but yeah, look, that's going to be fine. because it's got the security it needs here, and it can't go down there anyway. You know, even if it could, the cable is sort of stopping it from pressing onto anything there. And it's only really at this lower edge here where it would be at risk, but it can't go anywhere because it's limited at the front by the case, and it's limited by that and the cable there. So do you know what? I think that's going to be alright. Yeah, this cable is not ideal because it's a bit long, isn't it? It shouldn't be quite that long. Yeah, so what I'm not sure about here is where the keyboard sits in this, because it's like touching the floppy drive. That can't be right. Yeah, and the really tricky bit now is to feed that through there, sort of lift the keyboard up without putting stress on that flex ribbon, pull it through there. Yeah, this is one of those tongue at the right angle kind of things, isn't it? Because you've got to get that, connect it onto that, lined properly, there we go, like that, and then sort of lower the keyboard. See, that spacebar's a bit yellow, that's going to need a bit of a retro bright or something, isn't it? And then, where does the keyboard go now? I don't know. I don't remember this being so much of a problem now. I looked at Stu Roro's Amiga 600. You know, this doesn't feel right here. This looks like this is stuck right up. I don't know, this really makes me question whether this has even got the right drive or not. Yeah, it's blowing a gale outside. This makes me think this keyboard clips into this lower part of the shell, so let's just pull that out. Let's just carefully lift this up. And just have a look here. Yeah, look, it does. This clips in there. It goes like that. Yeah, there's two clips down there. Oh my goodness, how on earth did you get that to go in? Like that, I guess. Wow, that is the dodgiest thing ever. What were you thinking of, Commodore? I know what's going to happen after this. Keyboard's not going to work. That flex ribbon wasn't great to start with. Let's try and lower that into position now. Paying attention to the clips. I think it needs to be clipped on the right side here first, maybe. Very gently. Oh my god. In fact, it's the back first, isn't it? Thinking about this. I'm just looking at those clips. They look alright. Is that it? I tell you what, it's super tight in there. That is it. That is it. Right, let's connect video and power and give it a try. I will take that spacebar off and retrowrite that. Everything else looks good on there. That looks yellow, certainly on the front of it. Right, I'm going to switch it on, so let's watch what happens with the LEDs. Got power light, that's good. Put test kit into the drive. That's not booting, is it? Oh, it is. Well, I just remembered it was looking for the hard disk, so that explains the slight delay on the floppy drive there. So let's do keyboard and test the keyboard. That one, why is that not working? Ah, we've got a row missing again. Oh, got 2 rows missing, I think. Yeah, so switching it off, this is where I'm sure it needs a trim on that connector. Yeah, and I've shown this before. It's a case of very, very carefully just trim the smallest amount off here. Not a lot. I'm going for like less than a millimetre really. Just stopping periodically to make sure I'm still on target for the thickness I'm going for. There we go. And there is enough additional length available on this. But you're only going to get away with that like once, really. I'd love to know how they did this at the factory. Were there like 2 people involved, one person holding the keyboard up while someone did this? I don't know. Yeah, probably done by a machine, I would think. That's down, carefully. Put it back over here. Get that back there. I'm just going to just sit it on top like that. Yeah, it's working now, look. This is the thing, you only get away with that a number of times. Yeah, there is no number pad on this. So, you can't test the keys over there. Oh, I dropped the mouse. That's it. Yeah, and then the fuzzy one here, I am just going to clean with the wire brush The top of it just looks like it's suffered a bit of corrosion, which is a bit odd. Yeah, you can see it looks a bit dull, but it's alright. Yeah, the seams look good all the way around, look. Yeah, no worries. And the drive, well, I think, yeah, is fairly well aligned there. So thanks to whoever sent me that A600 mount there, because you know what, that's just got me out of a tight corner. I am so pleased. And a massive thanks to ElectronAsh, because you know what, it's amazing having a 600 in the collection. I never thought I'd get a 600. There's still quite a lot of them showing up on eBay from time to time. They sell for, well, they were around £100, now they're like £150 upwards for ones that are pretty beat up. So yeah, and the shell, incidentally, that cost me £70. So you know, we weren't far off the cost of actually buying a bad one really and building it, you know, and fixing it up. But the board obviously didn't cost me anything. It was really kind of ElectronAsh to send that. Yeah, I could have kept it as just a test board on its own, but I much prefer having a, you know, a complete unit like this. It just means we can do various things with the 600 moving forward. Yeah, it's running June at the moment. I'm just going to try and see if I can get the spacebar up. I'm not sure how this is clipped on. There we go. Just carefully on each side with the keycap removal tool here, just pulling it up gently. I may have damaged the clips here, this is the thing, and obviously it's better to do this when it's out. Yeah, a wee bit fiddly to get that off. It's clipped on there. Oh, there we go. Well, that was actually easier than I thought. Look at all the fluff and dust under there, we need to hoover that out. Yeah, so it's just got 3 clips, clip, 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 and it's not broken, so I'm going to retro-write that, but I'm going to just hoover that down. Yes, I mean, it would benefit maybe from a complete tear-down clean, but you know, the majority of that keyboard's alright, but there is some dust and fluff here that's like stuck on, it's dirt that's just like, you know, stuck onto the plastic. But the majority of the keys on this, they just look pristine. It does need a wipe with some IPA just to get the little bits of dirt off. It does remind me very much of the high-tech keyboards, this. I mean, it's not mechanical, I don't think. Well, there's a membrane for one thing. But, I don't know, it just feels so much better than the standard Samsung and Mitsunis that I'm used to dealing with really on 500s and stuff. It's interesting there's no bars either, are there? You know, these things here. Yeah, they just sort of sit up like that in accordance with this here. It's that bit there, and obviously the spring is the main thing there that springs up. Yeah, I saw where that went, thank God. Yeah, springs will try and escape. Anyway, let's just put a spring down there. Right, I'm going to go get some H2O2 onto that because you can see it's very yellowed. Alright, so the spacebar is soaking with some H2O2, so I'm just going to have a quick clean because you know what, this keyboard is pretty darn good. It really was just a spacebar. I actually think the spacebar may have been swapped. It may have lost its spacebar at some point. Yeah, there's the smallest amount of dirt coming off the surface of these. So booting it off 2.1 disc here, and the reason being is on the hard disk it's running ACA tune, which is giving me a suspend, and if I try and boot without the startup script, it can't find something when I try and load the editor, which is really weird. Anyway, you can see I've got the hard disks here now. So what I figure is, because we boot from floppy, if we go into Workbench system, yeah, I'm hoping that because we booted from floppy, I should be able to use the editor, because this is what we couldn't do when I skipped the startup sequence. And yeah, I'm missing a space bar at the moment. I've got a space and button. Startup sequence. This is where it said it couldn't find a library. Now, I'm not sure if it's an oddball thing with this version of Kickstarter or what. That's loaded this time. So hopefully, yay, we can now comment out ACA tune. Hang on a minute. I don't see it. Is this running looking at the startup script from the floppy? I think it is. Oh, that's so annoying. That's not the right one, is it? That's the floppy. boot sequence, I think. Yeah, I don't see ACA tune, so we'll do Control Q to quit, or Escape Q rather. I think we need to go DF0, no, DH. We need to go, oh, we're in Workbench. This is what I don't get, we're in Workbench, but we're in S. Let's go Workbench again. Workbench : S. Yeah, look, Workbench 2.1S, Workbench S. There's two S's. That gets confusing, doesn't it? So if we now do ed again, I just have the wrong keys here. Ed, start up, sequence. Now I do need some more RAM because, as we showed before, I tested the hard disk this way. There's not enough RAM to do anything when you've got hard disk. There it is, ACA tune. Now we commented this out before, I remember doing this, but we did it on another SD card. This is a different SD card. So I think that's it, and we can do Escape and X to save it. There we go. Eject the floppy, and if I do Controller Amiga, it should boot from hard disk proper this time. But we need to do something else and revisit this anyway, because look, the hard disk LED's on all the time. Yeah, and this time it didn't come up with the issue. So that's it. Should be able to maybe start a game here, I don't know. But we've got very little RAM. We've got less than half a meg, well, around half a meg of RAM, just more than half a meg. But as you open these windows, that'll go down, so I'm going to need to shut them behind myself here. Yeah, can't allocate shadow none. So annoying. Well, we've got enough for sysinfo. Be interesting to see what the drive speed's like on this. I'm guessing around a meg per second. I'd be surprised if it's anything more than that. Yeah, so we've got one there on the A600 benchmark, which is no surprise. ECS Denise. Look at drives. DH0. Yeah, the buffers aren't very big actually, they're only 30. I was thinking we might be able to reduce the buffer size from 300 to 30, but it's not 300 on this one, it's the default I think of 30. I'd be amazed if that comes back at a meg actually. I reckon that's going to be pretty slow, yeah, half a meg, look, 548k per second. Yeah, so just testing the PCMCIA adapter, and that's not going in. Oh, it is going in. There we go, in. And we got nothing on, oh, we have got something on the screen. I was going to say we've got nothing on the screen, we have. CF card. So this SD card that I'm booted from here, not the thing we just stuck in, but the actual hard disk was already set up to support the PCMCIA interface there. So yeah, I've got some things on this I can copy onto the SD card here, so may as well do that. Like we've got Tiny US, let's put that on there. It's like the new version of Gradius. So just using Commodore's cam here to inspect this LED, there's a few things. The drive makes a bit of a squealy noise occasionally, and this IDE LED. Now I remember Jan Beta did a video on this, but it was covered on one of the forums, and that was what his video was based on. I think one of the guys at the forum pointed out that the activity LED on this is at 3.3 volt logic levels, so when it goes to, I'm trying to think about this, yeah, and it's active low, yeah, so when you've got roughly 3.3 volts and it's around 3, I think it's a bit lower than 3.3, it might be 3.1, that's actually registering as low, so it's on all the time. That makes sense, doesn't it? When it goes off, it goes high, you know, it should go high. And well, high is registered as a low, but anyway, it's this pin here, 39, and it goes all the way to this resistor here, which goes also to this via here, which ultimately I think is going to go to the chip somewhere. But the solution on that forum was to add a roughly 20k of resistance in between the signal here that goes out on this cable to the Amiga, because that reduces it further, so that it's, in fact, how does that work? That doesn't make any sense thinking about it. That doesn't make any sense. How would adding a resistor in series with that signal? Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I don't get that. In any case, the solution does seem to be to add 20k in series with this. And the easy way to do it without modifying the cable, we could modify this cable because, well, not this cable, the one that's inside the machine. It's not like a, you know, a proper cable, it was a replacement one. Based on the fact this trace comes up here, we could cut this trace somewhere, and I'm tempted to do that actually. You know, like put a cut there in the middle, scratch a bit off, get an SMD 20k, 22k maybe, resistor in series with that signal. We can always patch it if it doesn't work. Right, filming this bit at the end, I lost a clip here. It was really annoying when editing. I'm doing this at the point of editing actually. This is the other adapter, the one you see me take out in a minute. So I think it was this trace here I was talking about. The first thing I did and filmed and lost is I cut this trace here, yeah, scratched like that, so that it was no longer connected, and I can measure from connectivity from there to here, and there was no beep because I'd cut trace. And then I tried to mount a 22k resistor here. It was quite a big one, it was like 1206, so it was a huge resistor, and I couldn't really solder the points on. And then it dawned on me, an easy way to do it actually is to solder onto this resistor here. So I think that's how I did it. I soldered the new resistor here like this. We got our cut trace, and on the right side of the resistor I just joined a wire up here. Yeah, and that's it, that's the mod. Right, I took the old one out, put the new one in, just testing here, and yep, there we go. It's working now, it's flashing. Power LED, that is only flashing when we've got activity. Yeah, just giving you a bit more of an overhead view there, you can see it's flashing. So that has solved the problem. And whilst it was booting, it didn't look very bright, but if I do a speed test on it, you can see when it's been hammered, the intensity is correct there. And I think it's probably Gale that's driving that actually. You know, the signal goes back from the cable, back to Gale I think, and then Gale ultimately is probably outputting to the LED here. But now we've corrected the logic level by putting that resistor there, and I'm not sure how. The link down below to Jan Beta's video if you want to see more about that. I'm just going off the original forum article that I think Jan based his video on actually, where it just suggests a approximately 20k resistor, and I had 22k's, you know, you've seen the little bodge there. It's the easiest way to do that mod, I think. You know, that's actually slower than an A2091, but I suspect that might shoot up if we had some fast RAM. But how you add fast RAM to one of these without adding, you know, a CPU upgrade, I'm not sure, because the expansion slot, you know, that's for chip RAM, isn't it? You had an extra 1 meg chip RAM there, and we'll come back to that in a later video, I think. And you know what, split second I've switched the camera off there, I answered my own question, and that is, how do you add fast RAM to these? Well, slow RAM, you can add from here, I think. Not in the form of this, because this is, you know, storage. You can get RAM cards that go in a PCMCIA. So, I don't know, maybe, I don't know what the limit is there. Maybe a 2 meg card would fit in there. I'm not sure whether it would translate as fast RAM. It'll probably be slow RAM, but I don't know. I'm going to go Google that, because I'm not honestly sure, but I do remember that you can boost the RAM on these by sticking a RAM card into the PCMCIA slot. Composite is not working. We need to get the spacebar back on, and I've also got the bracket and cable, the proper ones. The one screw missing, so that's annoying. It's supposed to have all 3 screws. Yeah, so we'll get those fitted as well. And one of the case clips is broken. We got these from Birt. He sent me these ages ago, and I just found these and went, are these for a 600? And then I watched his video again. Yeah, they are. So massive thanks to Birt. There'll be a link to his channel down below. If you have a look at his YouTube page here, you can see he's done quite a lot of different videos covering all sorts of different systems. Amiga, C64, lots of Tandy stuff. Yeah, very cool channel. Please check his channel out. And you can buy these from his Tindy store. So yeah, anyway, we'll have got to fit in one of those to replace the clip there. And I'll show you what Jeff showed me actually, which is the best way to get into these is to get your fingernails into the edges here if you can, or something like this, and just prise the side out slightly if you can. Hang on. Let's try this side first. Just lift over the edge there. There we go. And lift this side over the edge here. It's easier said than done. There we go. So if you pull outwards the sides first, and then sort of push towards the back, you know, push the top part backwards there, and that's it, it's off. Yeah, and then obviously we need to disconnect this blooming thing. The LEDs, carefully lift it up. Try not to put too much stress on the ribbon there. Lift the white hood. Just lift each side of it and it will come up like that, and then we can carefully just pull the ribbon out. That's that. Yeah, so we're not going to need this thing, are we? Because that's going to fit on the board like that, and there's a hole for the screw there, and there's a hole for the screw there. So that's quite nice. We don't need that. It's about 1 inch or so shorter, isn't it? So we may as well go with a proper one. I can put this away as a spare. Yeah, it's never a good idea to pull these cables like that, because these cheap ones, the plastic bits break here. But anyway, that's alright, so I'll put that away. Right, let me connect this all up, and I want to have a little scope around here actually, to see if we can work out what's going on with the composite. I think it should be coupled by a 470 microfarad cap, probably that. But maybe there's something here, problem here, or maybe it's one of these. These do get corrosion inside them, and then ultimately the windings break on them. Thing is though, they look alright, they look super blooming clean, to be honest. I don't know, maybe there's a corroded trace there. My other thought was maybe there's a VREF missing. Looking at the schematics, that's maybe a possibility. Anyway, I'll connect everything up. And switched on to AV1, which is the right channel. Switch it off again, and then switch it back on. Yeah, we just get no video. Now bear in mind, the kickstart we've got on here at the moment is the one that ships with this, which after a second or so it goes from black to white. We're not seeing any white, we're not seeing anything at all. But just having a look here, and I'll perhaps show you on the microscope in a minute, but we've got some greeniness on the can. So I actually think it's either this or that. One of these is a delay line and the other one's like a low pass filter, I think, or something like that. So I think I'm going to get that component off. The pins on this, as I'm desoldering it, they absolutely stink of electrolyte. Yeah, so I'm quite high up here just to give myself enough clearance to work underneath it. And that's a nice thing with that arm. 4X's mount is incredible with Cavanos's microscope. Right, where are we now? Let's start on this side over here. Yeah, it takes me a while just to get used to the hand-eye coordination thing, you know, not looking down. I do need to look down periodically to see where I am. The funny thing is, if you look below these, look how brown it looks. Awful. I mean, this looks charred. It's not. It's just a consequence of the light in here. When this has been cleaned with some flux, it should look good as new, I think. You can just try rocking it gently. And of course, freeing up with hot air would be your best bet here. Now, bear in mind, these are metal. They're going to get hot. The metal, with bits of metal in them, heated up. Yeah, I just want to try and get this off as easy as possible, really. It's coming off now, I think. Ow. Ah, there we go. Ow, 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 ow. Right, let's just flip that over and have a look underneath. So you can see the area there. Yeah, it looks alright, actually. Doesn't really even look very dirty. I'll show you on the microscope. I reckon you could get inside these to fix these if you wanted to. And I've had a go at similar things like that in the past. You can see, other than, is that a pad that's gone? I don't know. Let's just get some IPA and have a wee clean on top here. No, that's alright, that pad's alright. But look how green that is there. There we go. So you never know. I might look out with this. It might just be some surface corrosion. Maybe there's nothing damaged inside the can. Yeah, and here you can see the green bit that I spotted on the can there. That was the clue for me to go looking inside this. And you know what, it doesn't look that bad, does it? Let's just see if we can focus a bit. So with some careful manipulation here, you might be able to, you know, wedge something in there, flat blade or something, and prise it out and pull it out by the 6 pins and have a look inside. You know, because if you look at the wires here, you can see there's little wires on the legs, and this is where I guess we need to inspect now to see if we can see any of these broken, like there. That might be where it's broken, like green. And I'll bet that's what it is actually, because do you see much more green in there? I don't, but I see this here. So it might be that the wire here is corroded to the point where it wraps around that leg. Yeah, so we're on maximum digital zoom. We could get closer with the mechanical zoom. I'm just trying to, you know, it's like you can either focus on the tip or you can focus on the bit there. This is the problem here, and obviously I've got pretty significant wobble on this desk. If I just try and rotate that, it's like really hard to see what's going on here. There's like greeny bits everywhere, look. Don't know. I think what I should do is just get a wee bit of vinegar. Now with a wire that thin, you really don't want to leave vinegar on it too long, and you want to make sure you clean the vinegar off, because vinegar will corrode a wire just the same as alkaline will. Yeah, and have a clean with some IPA as well here. Oh god, it's so hard to see what I'm doing. The problem is I'm really close, aren't I? When you're really close, yeah, you're not going to be able to see very well. Yeah, so the greeniness has gone here. But like, you know, I don't know, can you see anything? What can you see there? You can see a wire here coming out of the package into the pin, yeah? Yeah, so I'm just giving that a bit of a blow. Well, you can see some corrosion in there, look. It's just like smushing out. I actually think this needs a clean. I'm going to stick this in the ultrasonic cleaner. It's got electrolyte inside it. Right, cleaned up in the ultrasonic. Maybe I should try taking, I don't know, maybe I should test it first. I don't know, you can still see, they don't look so clever, do they? Yeah, so I've decided to fit it back on, and we'll do a post-mortem on it, assuming it doesn't work. But I figure I may as well just show you me soldering this up now. Yeah, so it's not working. I'm just going to take off R223. Now this is across the other one, you know, the other device up here that's on its own. Well, that's for the chroma, but, you know, and I was kind of thinking, if we had luma and not chroma, we'd get something, and we're getting nothing, and I scoped these things and there's just nothing, which is why I thought the chip maybe was faulty. But anyway, if I measure on resistance here, resistor up here, so it should be 1K, and it measures 1 ohm. 1 ohm. So is that because it's got a coil across it? I don't know, but well, it ain't measuring right, so I'm just going to take that off. Let's get that off the board. So one thing I just noticed, and I don't know whether you saw it, 3 of the pins there were joined with a piece of braid on that top part there. Then you've got like a voltage reference, a voltage regulator, I think, voltage regulation, I don't know. You got like 2 volts on one, 1.2 volts on the other, and then the third pin is the, I think, either chroma out or composite out, which goes to this. So that chip may have actually died. I've ordered some of those, but I've also ordered the uprated one, where you don't need these anyway. So anyway, we're waiting for those now to come from China. So in the meantime, I figure let's try and get that clamp onto this, or the bracket rather. So the driver's going to go that way around, isn't it? And this is going to go here. That should be it now. That should mount like that, I think, and be correct. But I'm just going to clean up around here, toothbrush, and then I've measured around in respect to the connections that don't go to the camp. So there's loads of grounds on these, but like on each one of these, the blocks on the right, you know, we got a strip of 3 of them. There's 3 pins on each, so I figure I might actually be able to compare them and work out which one is the offending coil, you know, which one's got a break in potentially. Measuring there, I've proven it's this first one on the end here. So you've got 3 pins, and if you measure between each of the pins, you more or less get a short like 1 ohm or 2 ohms, 1.2 ohms, etc. on all of them, apart from the first one. The first one is just like mega ohms between all 3 pins. And if I just temporarily bridge the first pin to the third pin, so this is the first, you know, the end pin on each of this 3-pin device here, you will see the composite spring back to life. So let me just do this carefully. This low risky, if you short something ridiculous you could damage something major, but see that? Ignore the fact it's scrunched up, this TV does that. So I mean, I could just bridge it with a bit of wire to fix it. And we could just take that off and try and fix it, so I'll do that next, we'll get it off there. So yeah, that's definitely the issue. If the encoder was not working, well, we still wouldn't have a picture. the fact we're seeing a picture when we short the end pins on this one here shows us that that is the issue. So that's a quick and easy way of bodge testing one of these if you're not sure, because you know it can be quite hard when you see all those pins under there. You're like, oh my god, how does that work? How can I even test whether that works or not? Anyway, I am going to get that one off. In fact, they're all joined together, aren't they? That's the problem with these three. So using CavCam here, let's try and bodge fix this. So the one with the red dot is this one. Here's this side. So I guess we've got nothing to lose. We know this doesn't work. And all I did is I was bridging from here to here and it worked, which tells me one of these is potentially not connected. Yeah, I'm not really sure the best way to get this out because, as I say, you've got those little divots down there. I don't see a split in the can either. You know, if these are a split, you could sort of just maybe get in there with a screwdriver. I did it using the magnifier from my parents. I just had a bit better visibility, so let's swap back to CavCam. Yeah, and the crazy thing is, the way I did that was by, hang on, let's just get some focus, doing what you saw me do, which is to, you know, spread the middle of the can a little bit there, yeah, with a screwdriver, and then I grabbed the pins down here like this and pulled, and it just popped out in one piece. And if you turn this over, you can see, there we go, there's our coil. Now, the good news is this is probably going to be alright. It's going to be one of these points where it joins here, where the legs come through. And there's our little cap, look, a little ceramic cap. So I just need to do a bit of measuring around now, see if I can work out where the break is here, but I actually think we're going to be able to fix this. It's got to be one of these wires, because the legs go through and they join the cap, okay, on each side. Yeah, so if we have a look, hang on, and trying to measure it is impossible. So like that looks joined there, doesn't it? Hang on. Yeah, that's joined. That's joined. Oh, that looks to be joined. Hang on, is that a break? Is that a break? Is that supposed to go here? I can't really see. Just like that. There we go. And then I'm going to try and solder my wire onto that and wrap it around here. So you know what, I reckon we can fix this. I've got a very high level of confidence now of seeing where the break is. Right, so obviously it didn't work, but I took it back off and then I realised the other one was faulty, the end one. Yeah, there's like two of these that are faulty. Now when I got this out of the can, this is the other side of the can here. We did that one before and now we're on the other side. And there's open circuit between these pins here. Now I just pulled it out, it's really difficult to get out again. You can see what's happened at the top. It's sheared off here, let me just... Yeah, so the top of this needs to be glued down. Can you see it's loose? But I can get some super glue under there. Now if you inspect the wire in here, this wire here is attached down here correctly. There's another wire that comes across from over there which is soldered on correctly. Those are holding in place, and if we rotate this around, we've got a wire there. Now this wasn't on the other one. It makes me wonder what's going on with the other one. These seem to be wired differently. You know, on this one here, the wire from the top comes down under here, I think. I don't know, I can't honestly see where that's going. And then obviously we've got this broken connection here. Now, my thoughts with this are it's going to go down here. But I don't know, I need to have an inspect. So I need to, first of all, hang on. First of all, I need to get a dot of super glue underneath here. And you can see this is going to be really difficult. Yeah, I need to get a dot of super glue under there and then sort of try and squish this wire out of the way a bit and glue it down. Check these are still joined here, they look to be. Those look to be joined to this pin. It's not secured straight. I think you might be able to see that if I just rotate this. Maybe it looks a bit, yeah, it's a bit crooked. Maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, let's just focus when I'm holding it like that. I now need to join, and I've just checked the centre pin. And this is the thing with these, this is why these are really, they're not just fiddly to work with, they're confusing. Because when you try and follow the wires, you're like, where was that intended to go? Well, it was actually intended to go over here, down here, and onto that. And I'm like, well, what goes to here? I don't see anything. There's something broke off. Am I missing something? Well, I just checked connectivity from this trace here to the board, and it seems to go nowhere. Yeah. So these are bespoke assembled, you know, for the design here, you know, for this application. And whilst you've got 3 in this package here, they're all different. They don't behave the same way. So, like the middle pin on that one is used. Yeah. The middle pin on this end one here, what we're dealing with now, isn't used. And what are these? Well, this is the other aspect to this. If you look at the Sega Mega Drive schematics for the Model 2, I think it is, it might be the Model 1, the same video encoder is used. And they didn't use little hybrid things like this, you know, these little cans. They had separate inductors, separate capacitors, so you could actually recreate this little module pretty easily and just almost copy component for component the 6 or 7 components that you use on the Mega Drive. You don't necessarily need this free CAN device here. Now, as I mentioned, we can put the newer encoder on there that doesn't seem to need this stuff anyway, but there's 2 ways, and I thought about that previously, about using the Mega Drive schematic there and doing that. Anyway, so I think what I need to do, 2 things here. I mean, A, it's not going to behave totally normally because of the way that's not sat totally flat. But the core, you know, the ferrous material in the centre of this here is still there. Yeah, so, and the other wires seem to be okay. So I think if I just, hang on, this is where I need the pin, I think. Yeah, let me just get the pin. Yeah, when you're working on things like this, you need something like a needle or a pin. And I need to just lift this up in a way that it's exposed so that I can solder onto it. Yeah, so I'm going to solder a wire onto there, wrap it around here just like we did on the other ones. Of course, do need to straighten some of these pins because, as you can see, after having got it out, it's marginally bent. Anyway, I can sort of deal with that before we try and get it back on. Anyway, I'm going to join a wire there, stick that on there, and then the final thing I'm going to do is get some hot melt glue and put a tiny little blob here at the base over the top of that cap, and the same on the other side, and a heater melter, so that it doesn't protrude, but it just holds this base here a little bit, just because I don't really have much confidence in the way it's been glued. And you can see, look, they're pretty crooked, those legs, so they do need straightening before it goes back in. But yeah, if that works, then, well, in theory, we may have solved the entire problem here. And the reason I have confidence that this might actually now solve my problem is because when we shorted these pins, this is when it started working. When I worked on the other one of these, after showing you that shortening the 2 pins at the start, it was actually the wrong one. I was actually operating on the wrong one. So the other one needed fixing as well. And that might improve the picture stability, the fact that we've done both of these, 2 of these. The middle one, I don't know whether anything's wrong with that or not. I see some connections, I'm just assuming the middle one's okay. So if you measure from here now, a few times I have felt like smashing this bleeding thing up. I'll be honest, right, let's try it again. Carefully, carefully, without putting too much pressure on the core up there. Yay! Pretty much a show off. Measure on resistance. It should just be really low, like, I don't know, 0. some ohms. 2.5 ohms. So that's the point I was sidetracking on. I was trying to explain before. These 3 cans, each one of them, you know, compared to the Mega Drive circuit, you've got a couple of different inductors and 2 or 3 different caps, and that's all this is doing. You've got a cap on each side here, which is like an optional thing. Some of them are in use, some of them aren't, even though there's a cap on each there. And you'll have different sizes, like, I don't know, 180 picofarad I think I saw on the Mega Drive schematics. One of them was 18 picofarad. You had a 10 microhenry inductor, and I think there's a 100 microhenry inductor. So yeah, this is what this is doing. It's replicating the stuff that's on the Mega Drive, which is just discrete components on the Mega Drive. And there's only 6 or 7 or 8 components on the Mega Drive. Here, they stuck them into these little cans for whatever blooming reason. It just doesn't seem to make any sense to me. It must have cost Commodore more, I think, to have these put in these little cans like this than it would have been just to have discrete components on the board. Anyway, I'm going to switch the hot air on, and I'm just going to get a little bit of hot melt glue. Right, so there is the cam. You can't get these around the wrong way because obviously you've got the row of all of it, with the pin side with the 3 pins, they all follow each other. So if you press too hard here, the core is going to whack on the top of the cam and then break it off. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this because, well, there we go, let's go in a little bit there. Right, let's do this together. I'll just switch the TV on. I've got power connected up here. It's starting to look a bit of a mess under there now. I'll be honest, there's a couple of little marks where, you know, from heating, removing, you know, desoldering, fitting it back on, solder it, fitting back on. It's like, try and get it all right first time. That's a lesson I've learned from this. It's worth checking them all whilst you've got them off the board. Right, I'll point you to the TV and switch it onto AV1. Now this is the first test, so I'm expecting it maybe not work. Oh my god, it does work, I think. Just trying to work out, is that fuzzy or not? I don't know. I mean, bear in mind it's composite. Composite's never great, but I am not sure whether that's, I don't know, it just kind of looks fuzzy white. Is it? Don't know. Let's just see what it looks like. Yeah, that's not bad. I still think it's a wee bit blurrier than I might have expected for composite. But then again, I never used composite on an Amiga, so do you know what? I would have no clue. I'd need to go compare to my 1200 really. But we fixed it! Haha! That's amazing, isn't it? We look at how, what of a nightmare that was to do that. I mean, I must have spent close to 4 hours, you know, in total, fixing those 2 different little units there, little modules. The first one was more problematic because it had, you know, 3 broken wires in it. Now that second one was a pain because the core snapped off, but anyway, that is working. Haha, so pleased. So I think in the interest of education, I've shown you how to fix it that way. When the new encoder comes, the new model, we'll remove that and we'll fit one of the new ones, and I'll show you that. I guess we can do it before and after. I'll perhaps get some still photos of the screen there and some close-up footage, and we'll just see if it's any better with the later encoder. And it might be because, well, this might not be perfect in terms of my fixes. I'm just having a bit of tap there to see if there's any effect. There isn't. So I think the things in there are stable. As I've zoomed you in as square as I can there, just so we can do a before and after. I mean, that isn't bad the way things stand, to be fair. You know, it's composite at the end of the day. This is not RGB. We got pretty straight edges on the pixels and things here. Very little dot crawl there, and the colours look fairly good. You know, everything looks fairly uniform and stuff, and fairly well balanced and stuff. I think that's all right, actually. And you know what, I've had more time to think about this. We do have a problem with one of the delay lines there. Maybe the middle one's got some issue, because can you see here, we've got like a blurry edge to the here. It's like a ghost, and here as well. So you know what, we do need to swap over to the other encoder. And we'll do that anyway, because you know what, I've spent 4 hours, I can't honestly be bothered taking those off and try and have a look at the middle one. But I think we had a problem with every single one of those, and I think the middle one is the issue now. But then again, it might be something wrong with one of the ones I just fixed, but I guess at a pinch that's usable. And if you've just got one of those faulty, which is probably going to be the scenario for most people, you probably just, you know, I'd be amazed if you took one of those apart and found that you had so many broken connections like I've done. But I guess it depends on the volume of electrolyte that gets dumped around that area. Anyway, I think it was educational to try and fix one of those. And you know, now I think about it, this one's for the chroma, isn't it? I think this long one here is for the luma. So it might not be this that's now the issue. It might be that's got an issue in it, the one for the chroma. Just based on the fact that, well, it's the colour that's off the edge here. But then again, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I don't know precisely what the delay lines are doing there in terms of delaying the colour, you know, the chroma versus the luma. And why you even need one on the luma. This is the thing, I don't know. Honestly don't know what it does to the analog signals that are being produced within that chip. And I guess that's the other thing, isn't it, with this? And this is, you know, why the newer version's better. Why was this stuff not just merged in here? If this is, you know, designed, this chip, to produce a composite output, why would we need these analog-y sort of components here? Why can't that be baked somehow into the design of the IC. I mean, I guess it's to do with regional differences, different types of PAL maybe, because there are some differences. But these chips are, like, usually PAL/NTSC. There's usually a pin, one of the pins on there. You set it high or low to determine whether you want NTSC or PAL. Yeah, if you watch the June demo here, there is definitely some sort of issue where it kind of blurs over to one side just a little bit. But, well, it's not that visible when you've got a full screen image. So, I don't know, maybe I did completely reconstruct those little cans perfectly. You know, the colours here look perfect. This looks perfect. That's how I would expect Composite to look. I think you can perhaps see, like, a ghost thing going on here on the right side and on the left just a little bit. It might get lost in compression, I don't know, but yeah, I've not got sound on the moment, by the way. But yeah, there's, like, I don't know, a little blur there, a little blur over that side. And this edge here stands out quite a bit. So, I don't know, maybe it's not perfect, but you know what? That's not bad. Considering how bodgy my repairs of those two devices were. And, you know, thinking about this, I know what the issue is. Here, we are lacking the colour information. It's offset, and this is why there's another blur here. It's offset ever so slightly on the colour, yeah? I think. And I think that's the second one I fixed. Remember the core broke out the centre. When I put it back down, I'm sure it trapped the bottom wire. The bottom wire was perhaps somewhere under it rather than around it. So however many turns you've got on there, let's say for argument's sake this 40 or 50 turns. If you were to divide this by that amount, I reckon this is the bit of the delay you'd have or you'd be lacking. It's either got, I think it's got slightly less, it's not delayed enough or something. That's the issue. I could be wrong. I actually think that's the one. It's that second one that I worked on. I think it's that winding trapped on the underneath there means that the timing is just marginally out on the colour. And in fact, that series of the delay line there is actually the luminance, so it's probably a case of the luminance is getting there quicker than the colour or something like that. And that would make sense if you think about it. If the luminance was starting slightly before the colour, this explains why the colour's lagging behind a bit here at the end of the line. So yeah, that's just an unfortunate thing. If I was going to do this again, I would spend a little bit more time making sure that when I stuck that core back down, that I'm not trapping, there's no risk of trapping the bottom winding. Right, so I think the only missing clip is this one here. The end is broken off there, the end points. If you look at this one here, you can see they stick out, those stick out, these ones here stick out. Yeah, this one here is broken off, look, it's at an angle. I think Birt broke that off deliberately on his because it was hanging off. And the one here is okay. And these are the clips I got from Birt here. So he's got test fit rear clips first. I guess these are the side ones, I don't know. Yeah, they're subtly different. Let's just have a look at these ones. I think this is one of the rear ones. And these will work on 600 or 1200. You can buy these from Jeff's Tindy page, I think, Tindy store. Yeah, so it's going to literally go into the little gap there and be epoxied in place like that. So, yeah, and that's going to give us a nice little clippy edge there. Whenever you're trying to stick things onto plastic like that, it's best to get a file and just file the plastic marginally at the point where you're going to epoxy. So I'm going to scratch the base here just a little bit. It'll just provide a bit of a biting point for the epoxy. I'm going to scratch, and I'm going to file the side of these marginally here, like that. It doesn't need a lot. And the back here as well, just up and down a little bit. You don't want to go too much, otherwise you could alter where it sits in the case. And then this little one here as well. So we'll just go up and down that a few times. Right, that should do, I think. And then we need to mix some epoxy. So I've got some Aldite here. And I'll just use this thing here just to mix those up Not the best way of mixing it, because you can see a lot of it gets absorbed into the paper. I'm not bothered. Not even bothered if some of the paper got mixed in with that. Yeah, and then what I need to do is just get some literally right into that gap, like that. So up the sides of it, on the base, on the back. That should do. And then we need to carefully slide this clip into position. Try not to touch any of the outside of the case here, just in case I do have some of this on my fingers. And there we go, just push that into position there like that. That should be it, so we'll just let that set now. This is a different clip here, it's one of the side ones. It's a small one, a small clip here, with a little channel there. This is why you broke this off, so as to snap that off, just break it off because it's hanging on. I mean, you could, in theory, yeah, you see that it's not even coming off, that is it? That is really well stuck on, despite the fact that it's hanging off. But anyway, because it's hanging off, it's not going to be secure, is it? So let's just trim it here, like that. This is exactly what Jeff did when he covered this on his channel. And then we need to get some of this around there, and I've just roughed up around that, actually. So we've got epoxy in there, and we're just going to slide it over that. Oop, like that. Just get some on the base as well, I think. Hang on. Yeah, I think that'll do the job. The key, though, is making sure that that is totally square. So huge thanks to Jeff for sending those A600/A1200 case clips. I'll put these away because we're going to be able to use these at some point in future to fix some of the cases, probably. Right, so the two parts are still glued in there. I did adjust the one on the left. I trimmed the little bit that was cut off flat and flush with the edge there. As I remember seeing in Jeff's video, I only just noticed that before it started to set. So there are 2 points here. I'm just going to get a little bit of flux on reflow. There's one down here I'll show you, and there's a component there that needs a reflow. You might just be able to see from there, this needs a bit of a reflow. There's a bit of a funny shape to the solder, a bit of flux, maybe that transistor. This one here, this 470 ohm, just needs a bit of flux and reflow, and the edge of this one here, and here. Yeah, so I don't know if someone has done a bit of tinkering, a bit of reflowing around there, maybe swapped the component out. But all I'm going to do is just get a tiny bit of flux on there and reflow them all. Bring the microscope in to show you. And herein lies a problem with the case clips. You see what I see? The drive's not aligned. Yeah, the drive's not aligned. This is right in the way. That's going to have to come off. There we go, got it out. Yeah, and actually, I'm feeling rather stupid right now because he's got some smaller ones here that don't have that back piece on, and this is what those are for. So, yeah, I need to just file this down again. Need to get some fresh epoxy in there, and well, it does need filing down because look, it won't fit now, and we need to stick that in, and then that will have enough clearance. And there we go, I've got the small clip in place this time. I super glued it instead. I may get a bit of epoxy around it later, but I think that's going to be alright. So let's just test it out for size now. Yeah, that's fine. No issues there at all. The clearance is right next to the thing here, can you see that? Right, I think I'm going to have one last go at trying to fix the, I forget which one it is, which one of these here where we're winding short, I think. So I'm just going to take it to pieces, try and pull the thing out, desolder the one wire that's the issue here, and attach a wire to it, and then and then melt the hot glue so that the winding can go around it one more turn, and then join it back up. Because I figure then it should be the right length, yeah, which means the right delay, which means composite should just work. And then if that works, yeah, then we'll desolder all 3 of these, and we're going to fit a new, different type of chip here. Yeah, and I couldn't show you that, but I put the hot melt glue we took off previously out of the can here, pulled the wire so that you can see it's flat with the coil look, and it's going under that part there, it goes all the way around the back, still joined up. So we just need now to just loop it inside the thing here, this way. Hang on. You can see the hot melt loose, still a bit moist there. I'll tell you what, let me just heat that again. I'm just going to just pull it downwards. Hang on. Got to make sure the hot air doesn't overshoot. Delicate plastic and what have you, delicate coils, I want 120 degrees, no more. So just above boiling. There we go, let's just try and smush that down that way. Ow, 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 ow. It's getting very bleeding warm, as you'd imagine it would. Right, let's just do that. And then I want to pull the wire. Oh God. You've got to do all this in like real time. This is the problem here. Down there like that. There we go. Just let that cool now. I'll give it one final heat in a minute, because that's going to stick out and interfere, isn't it? Now look, can you see the plastic here? Still a bit stuck up, a little bit. I'm reluctant to press. Oh, like that, because there we go, things snap when that happens. It's in. So, I don't know, I'm calling it broke completely now. I think I will have made that worse. Will I have fixed it by adding one more winding around it to adjust the timing of what I think is, you know, we've got a timing issue between Chroma and Luma. One is out by, I think, one winding, but it could be two windings, so it might be marginally better, but it might not. Even trying to get that aligned back up is not the easiest thing, if I'm honest. Right, well the good sign is we've got composite, it's not completely balked. Let's just see what the colours look like. Now please remember that composite is crap no matter what. If you get reasonable composite, you're lucky. It waits ages because it's looking for the IDE. In fact, it's got IDE, it's been from IDE I think. Yeah, we've got a little bit of a ghost thing going on here. But I don't know, it's not bad for composite actually. So maybe I made it worse by extending that thing. I don't know, let's try June. Yeah, I would say that's not any different here. You can still, maybe it's a bit, I don't know, it's the same I think. You can see there's a little difference here. And you can see ghost in here. This is the problem that you make some slight deviation with these things. You know, like one winding missing, two windings missing. It could be missing two here rather than one. Maybe it's marginally better. I think it's marginally better actually, because I think that line might have been wider before. And what you do is you're delaying the colour or the Luma one way or the other to get everything lined up just right. So yeah, there's a lot of science goes into getting the microhenry rating of each of those coils just right. And the capacitance in there as well, because there are some, you know, very specific low tolerance capacitors fitted inside them. But you know what? I'd pass that off as fixed. I would say I fixed that. I could live with that. I really don't think that's bad. I don't think that gives a bad picture at all for composite. Let's face it, composite is awful no matter what. But I think you'd be hard pressed to tell if you didn't know I'd repaired that and you just saw the composite, you'd go, yeah, composite's alright. Right, so there'll be a link down below. I think it's something like Cody.se or something, a Swedish guy I think. Tutorial, and it was Pillock that mentioned this mod. It's probably been covered on other channels as well. I think CRG may have done it on his 600, I don't know. You've seen that, we managed to fix the things, but we're going to fit the CXA 2075. Yeah, I'm not sure you can see it through there, you can just about see it, 2075M. So let's just get one of those out onto the bench. I'll do that in a minute. Yeah, we don't need very much of this. It's sticky back to the stuff as well. You could just use like kitchen baking foil or something if you've got it. But it's like, it's solid metal. You know, you can see it's metal. You could cut yourself on that if you weren't careful. I'm just going to just squidge some of that down here. Anyway, that'll do. There's just a bit of protection around the area, but I don't envisage this taking very long to remove that. Right, let's get the hot air on again. See, we're getting to temperature there now. Lots of flux is fuming. To be honest, I'm quite amazed that hasn't come off already. Oh, there we go. It has. Hopefully we didn't damage any pads or anything there. So let's just remove that fuming IC over there and grab it. That on the mat over there. So at this point now I can actually remove the tape and stuff. Yep, it's looking no worse for wear around that. If I just scroll around here, see that? It's not adversely affected by the heat. And the caps look okay. So we'll just take advantage of that being a bit fluxed up, and I'll just get this tiny bit of braid that's left over. Anyway, we're going to toothbrush around in it a bit because there's still bits of flux and stuff around there. Yeah, that'll do me. I'm sure it could be straighter. Now we've got a huge tip here, so it's probably going to move. I don't know, let's just try. Let's try down here where it might be a bit easier. Get onto the pad, hang on. Got to try and move without going too far. Come on. There we go, that's one or two. Oh, hang on a minute. Technical hitch here, we need to cut a few pins. Pin 8 and 9 I think it is, so you've got to be leave 3 at the end here, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Yeah, it's these two. Those need trimming off, so I'm going to bring trimmy trimmers in. Hang on. 3, what's that one? And just try and grab it and snip. Yep, there it is. And the one next to it, again, grab in between the gap, and I nearly forgot that bit. Snippy snip. Is that off? Yep. There we go. I don't know where that second pin went, I need to have a look. Got one of them there, that's gone. Yeah, anyway, I'll toothbrush around there in a minute. So you can see I did just bend it slightly as a result of doing that. That'll do. So we've cut those 2 pins off. So you leave 3 on the end here, 8 and 9 get cut off, and then we can anchor it up here. I think at the solder one. There we go. Just for good measure, press it down, reflow. Same up here, press it down, and then we've got 2 pins here to reflow. Reflow. Bridge them with Commodore. If I turn the lighting down, you'll get a fairer representation of what it looks like. That's what you see with the naked eye or a magnifier. And this is the thing, it can look super clean. It's only when you get this additional, you know, really high intensity light in here where you're able to see these little bits in between. But you get that even on a, you know, an unworked board, an original board. In fact, worse actually, because you get quite a lot of dirt and contamination just building up from the environment normally. And we now need the resistor, which I seem to have lost. Oh, here it is. And I'm going to fit it between the pin down here, which I think is probably VCC. It might not be, it might be ground, it might be a pull down or a pull up, to 17 up here. So if I just start by, well, trying to trim down the corner one down here. It doesn't need to be very long at all, does it? Yes, so whilst I've gone for a 2K7, let's say 3K3 is what you want according to the data sheet. So let's just try and judge this. Yeah, and on the other side we need to remove R221. That's, hang on, that's R221. Oh yeah, that's R221. It's the print. Yeah, you think it's that. It's not. That's 231. So anyway, let's get this one off. That's 221. Yeah, I'm struggling to find those other components. I think we'll just give it a go and see what happens. So let's switch the microscope off. Switch the soldering off. I'm going to clean up those pads in a minute, but right now I just want to see, are we getting anything? No. Woohoo! It seems to be working. So maybe I've removed enough. There we go. Oh, hang on. This is a bit shimmery. There's a bit of shimmering going on here. Maybe I just need to remove those cans. But I mean, we have got composite. Yeah, something needs removing. Something's been coupled there that shouldn't be, or something. Yeah, so I won't bore you with the desoldering process, but I'm just going to switch that off. Let's just check that for temperature. Yeah, it's stone cold. And just remove those cans. Yeah, it's as good as it's going to get. We do have shimmer going on here. I mean, that's what you get with composite. So I would argue the way it was marginally better in one way than another. So in other words, the dot crawl here is more noticeable with this video encoder, yeah, than it was with the other one. So we'll connect the floppy drive up, we'll boot June. But what we don't have is an overlap here, you know, like the time in between Chrome and Luma is out. So the bandpass filter, when I was removing that single can on its own, it smelt under there, you know, I'm going to show you. Yeah, this thing, just the single can on its own, it smelt of electrolyte again. Yeah, that is so much better. We have got dot crawl, I can see it, you know, rolling here. There might still be the odd component to remove somewhere that I can't find. But it is better. It's better as it is now. So it's mission accomplished, I think. Anyway, I'm going to keep those two filter components there, just in case I get another one at some point in the future, and it might just be easier for me to just swap over to these parts that I've already fixed. And I say fixed in the loosest term, really. No, I haven't. I've not got it connected to the CDN. Let me just plug those in. And they're going. I've got sound, but it's not plugged into the phonos. There we go. Yeah, so not very much different. It really isn't. And in fact, now I look at this, I see the same issue, just to a lesser degree, because it's on this side here, a little cold strip, and on this side here. So you know what, I think I've just fixed it as it was, and it really didn't need this other encoder. Can you see what I mean? Look here, look. You've got the same strip. So there was nothing wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with it. You could argue maybe that gap is now marginally smaller. Anyway, I'm just going to settle for that. The pins we cut was 8, 9, it's BF out and NC, so that's no connection. This one's obviously not used, so they're not connected or anything on the chip, that makes sense. And on the board itself, I think it's audio in and audio out, and we're bridging the audio into the audio out. So implications, I'm not sure if the other encoder provided any kind of amplification on the audio signal. It may have just buffered it, I don't know. So you may find, because I think that's going to be the relevance there, the audio in bridge to the audio out, those 2 pins, means the audio is going to pass through to the modulator, I think. You might find your audio is slightly less of volume than it would be with the other encoder, but I don't know. I've not looked at the data sheet of the other encoder to see what it's doing with the audio in and audio out. So yeah, the audio should still be going here, but anyway, no one's going to be using RF, and of course, as pointed out in the previous video in the comments, lots of people who've done this mod and other mods to these and repairs often remove this, you know, and take opportunity to clean up around there anyway. But yeah, I'm very pleased, it's pretty good. And I think you'll agree, it looks fantastic for composite. And one other thing to correct from part 1, you would notice this cap here, let's just get the angle right, look how close that is to not being connected. It was just because I was rushing this area. Can you see the pin is out here? Yeah, there's the pad. So yeah, that is just marginally out there. That'll do. So yeah, the print is not central, But some of these caps like that, you know, the skew if at factory. But anyway, that's just going to make far better, more reliable long-term connection than the way I left it in the previous video. I'll do. And then coming down here, I'm going to toothbrush again around here in a minute. Get the solder onto an EE pad. Hang on. Angle it is everything with such a small gap. There we go, I'll do. So quickly finishing this off, just a few marks here that I'm going to use a little bit of plastic cleaner on, just to see, you know, plastic polish here. Use Maguire's Plast RX. You could try Novus, just see if this cleans these up somewhat. Yeah, so those marks have mostly gone. There's still just remnants of them there, and all the little bits that are around here have all gone as well, so it's good to get the board back in. Yeah. And the clips from Birt are great, so you clip the back on first, being careful not to force the front on. Lift the side, hang on, outwards, let's just get a flat blade. You've got to be careful, but you do need to sort of just prise slightly outwards in order to, there we go, hook it over the clip there. And then do the same on this side. In fact, that side's gone in. So, there we go, that's it. Back, all seamless there, thanks to the clip in this corner. That clip was still good, and this one was replaced, which it's a bit sloppy, you know, it grips, but it's not, as you know, you saw it went in on its own, it's not quite as good as the original one, and I think it's just the way I epoxied it, it's the position I epoxied it. Anyway, I can get these 3 screws back in here. Yeah, booting that from hard disk, our hard disk LED is still working, so everything is good. Just need some more RAM now. Yes, I think you'll agree, the end result is fantastic. I didn't show me retrobrining that, I just used some of this stuff, the Blonde 40% Vol. I've had this for a few years, you'd think it would have gone bad by now, but it worked really well. I painted it there with this stuff, left it in the kitchen on the windowsill for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, and then I give it another coat, another 3 or 4 days, and then I put it into some oxy action, you know, plastic jug with some vanish, left that in for 24 hours, and it came out the same colour, pretty much, as the keys. So yeah, then it just clips back on with those 3 clips, and make sure you've got the spring back under there. So yeah, there's lots of things I could have done, you know, more to this. E.g. took off each of the keys and cleaned all around and everything, but it's had a really good scrub right between the keys with cotton butter. Didn't show that. I cleaned and polished the PCB up as well. It just looks like factory, other than obviously the odd modification, tweak and stuff that we've been doing throughout this video here. So yeah, it's come out really good. So special thanks to ElectronAsh for sending the PCB and the keyboard there. Thanks to all you guys and girls in Discord, because without the support that I get, I wouldn't have been able to bid on a top case like this, and you know, I wouldn't have the bottom part of the case, I wouldn't have a case for it. We fixed the drive obviously in a previous video. It was interesting to see the issue with the filters there, and that if you've got a microscope like this amazing one from Cavanos, then you can have a go at fixing those little inductors yourself, you know, the little cans there. But we also covered the swapping out to the new chip. Personally, I don't know whether my chips are fake, but I think the new chips aren't as good as the old chips. I actually get a worse picture. I see more shimmering, more dot crawl with the new chip. But it is okay, so I'm just going to leave things as they are. Massive thanks to Birt for the clip for over there, and the ones we'll be able to use moving forward. I do hope you found that video interesting. If you'd like to support the channel, please see the Ko-fi and Patreon links down below. Every dollar means we can keep doing these videos, and as I've mentioned quite a bit recently, I am seriously looking at other ways of making income, and it might not be YouTube ultimately, unfortunately, but we still might have a few more months left yet. So anyway, watch this space. But yeah, thanks for all your support. It is you watching, subscribing and supporting that keeps the channel going, really. Thanks a lot. I'll catch you in the next video.